Okay, this is part 3 of our lower assembly. So what we're going to do, we are going to go ahead and install our takedown pins. And we got our front pin, our pivot pin. We got the corresponding springs, detents. We also have our buffer spring that's we're going to install with this detent as well. I'll show you all that. Our buffer tube, our end plate, and our castle nut. Now we're not going to torque this down if we get it done. We will do that once we get it in the vise, but for this portion of the instructions, we're going to show you how to install these parts. All right, let's start with the rear pin. First thing we're going to do is take this castle nut with these facing backwards, these cutouts. It's where your AR wrench will go. And we're going to screw this all the way back to the very end. It'll stop just like that. Next thing we're going to do, we are going to slip this end cap on. It does have a groove right here that corresponds with this. This has a area that protrudes slightly out that's bumped out. Make sure that that is going to be faced towards your lower receiver, like such. And we will begin screwing this in. Before we get too far, we will take the spring, insert it right here, and the buffer tube detent will go right here. We'll continue screwing this in until it captures just the edge of this. We still want this to move. See where we're at. And that's fine right there. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to insert our detent. We just turn this slightly out of the way. And here's our detent. Try to get this where you guys can see it properly. I'm just going to slide it right in that hole. You can see how it protrudes out there. Then we're going to take the spring, and all 3 of these springs that come in this kit's the same, and we're going to insert that. So back this detent back just slightly. And we'll take our pivot pin, which is this short pin right here. You can tell the difference. 1, it's short. 2, the front takedown pin actually has a cut, and this does not. All right, guys. This does have a channel. These dimples inside is where that actual detent will set and lock everything in place. So we'll go ahead and install this. Got that in. And we'll put the end plate on and begin to tighten that castle nut. Push in on that. Remember guys, if you get to this step, best thing to do is go ahead and torque this down right now. If you torque it down, you need to torque it between 38 and 42 foot-pounds. When you do that, I go ahead and just split the difference, and I usually just do 40. So that's where it needs to be. Something else to do proper is once you get it done, you really should stake this. That way it does not back off. Some people do, some people don't. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be up to you. Okay, we got the detent spring in, we got the detent, and we have our pin in. Make sure everything's working properly. And as you can see, it is working properly. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to lock. That's why it's got those indentions in there. So everything is proper. So let's go to the front and I'll show you how to do that. Once we get done with that, we'll move on to the next step in this assembly. Now guys, you don't have to do everything in this order that I did this in. You can change it up. This is just the order I'm showing y'all in today. We could have went ahead and put the trigger assembly and the internals in, but we are going to do that in a future step. So next thing you're going to need is another spring. You're going to need your front takedown pin and another detent. The spare, we'll just set to the side, because if one of these goes flying, it's always handy to have a spare, because you're probably not going to find it. All right, everyone. What we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and insert that spring. Let me see if I can get a good video of this. I really should probably put this in first, or I could have got it into the camera. We're going to insert the spring and the detent in here. Really simple. Just slide it in. Let's go ahead and slide our detent in as well. And this is where it's going to get tricky, guys. This is where things go flying. So I'm going to show you my method of doing this. I'm going to take you can take a dowel rod, a screwdriver. I really prefer something with a flat end like that. This is a nylon punch. Take something flat like this right here. Guys, see right there what happened? Go ahead and get this pushed in, and it held in place. So what we're going to do next, what you can do is turn this sideways, make it a little easier on you. Get it started. And we're going to turn this in place, guys, just like this. Hear it click in? That's all there is to it. All right. It's catching the recesses for the detent properly. And that's all there is to that. So guys, we installed the buffer tube, front and rear takedowns, and the buffer tube detent and spring is installed. Your end cap's installed, and your castle nut is partially installed. The reason why I say partially, you still need to torque this down. Remember guys, 38 to 42 foot-pounds. Just split the difference, go to 40 foot-pounds, and you'll be good. All right, guys, we will move on to the next video and continue on building this lower unit. So go ahead and skip over to the next video, and you'll see what we're going to do next.